So we're just going to give everyone a couple of minutes to come over and tune in. Okay, looks like we're going. Okay. Hi, everybody. We're live. I'm Steve Carl, and this is our 4th week of doing live poetry readings on Saturday. Well, everyone is shut indoors, or supposed to be shut indoors. So we're just going to wait a couple minutes to see if anybody else will show up. It's a sunny day here in Honolulu. I hope it's nice wherever you are. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and get going. The work I'm going to read today is a book I wrote called Hamburger. It was written in 2001, and it was published by Tin Fish Press in 2002 inside this foil hamburger wrapper. So you would open inside the wrapper was the book of poems here. You can see that. And it was reformatted and slightly revised about 4 years later, and published in my book Tracheal Centrifuge as one of 4 sections of that book. So along with Tracheal Centrifuge, the piece I read last 2 or 3 weeks ago, and then a couple of other pieces that we'll get to in the coming weeks. So I'm just going to go ahead and read the work first, and then after that I will talk a little bit about the process of writing it, how it came about, and then if anybody has questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, and I will answer them at the end if I can. So live from the Blue Room, here's Hamburger. Ha! What is Hamburger? Hamburger? What is Hamburger? What kind of meaning cluster is that? Linked by some ground up meat from a animal bred for killing? How sick is that? We ought to be ashamed. But somehow we're not, so as we make do with kitsch, camp, and irony. What a life. Hamburger is a set of short electronic scribbles out for a push-pull on the old meaning cluster. Will it yield any surprises? Hamburgers is like station wagons. Hopefully a few. See. Okay? Hey. Mad cow's disease. Ah, whoops. I'm sorry. Is it in bad taste to title the opening poem of a book called Hamburger, Mad Cow's Disease? I apologize if I've offended any carnivores, or worse, any conservatives in the US of A. I meant it as an indictment of the English conservative governments of the last 20 years for taking precisely the actions they had been told way back since the 80s would lead to desperate conditions similar to those that now exist. And I'm sure their decisions were not influenced in any way by the Reagan and Bush governments and meat lobbyists in Washington at the time. So it can't be about you fellas, right? I'm just doing irony with you guys. You catch my tone, right? Of course you do. Yeah. Anyway, mad cow's disease. Have it your way. Serving it, not serving it, have it your way or the doorway. Pamplona has the right idea. You want to eat? Try take a risk of your own stakes. Serves to be served. What sovereignty in a slaughterhouse? How many de-served in service? Special sauce. 2 pitter-patting purses, beef. 2 small pure sauces of the cattle similar. 2 small pure pies of ox. 2 small pure bovine black and white charts of the 1-1s. Managing special tables, the special vectors to control, salsa especially. Salad of head, the ensalada, lettuce, cheese places, clear places of the cheese, soda jetty, memories with the vinegar, conservative gherkins, chipped off the old light bulbs, own ya own, on brioche of initial value, seed, initial value, bun, seed, for generator of coincidence. Hamburger equals phantom limb, imaginary arm of the colon wing, of the digestion building, post-organic staple. You're eating staples. Hamming it up burger. Ooh, 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 ooh. Burger of country, burger of town, burger of mediated renown, burger of half-wit, burger of plug, burger for whom this office is bugged. You be a burger and I'll be a thing, and if there's a song here, we'll give it to Sting. Ooh, 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 ooh. Burger of mercy, burger of sand, burger that carries the pretty demand. Telephone burger, when will you ring? Burger that shrinks and burger that sings. Burger of loneliness and pain. Burger of love and burger of rain. Ooh, 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 ooh. Sometimes you've got to break the rules. Anarchy burger. Hold the government, or gourmet football? If you like cruising for burgers, you'll really go for these corporate death burgers. Some people eat them that way. Burger Court of the Crimson Burger King. They would vote to count those votes. Would Mayor McCheese try to sleaze an election with the mistallied fries in his brother's hamburger patch? Oh, sure, the Hamburglar would. Army and Lot would probably try to ram his agenda through Congress, too. Foot and mouth disease, 1. Outbreaks all earmarked with livestock. Imported epidemic confined in disease, since virus blisters economic animals. International governments hampered food movements across controlled affect or area for combat. Scientists carry outbreaks. The reduced record was banned. UK changed animals. Aristocratic pedigree exports slaughtering imports. Or self-sufficiency, free as the national mouth. In 1990, the vaccines contained difficult English land and xenophobic border arguing campaigns. Self-congratulatory slaughter potential, and zootic over in Europe. We won't make it till you order it. We won't shake it till you bake it. We're not gonna take it till you make us fake it. We won't kill it till you pay us for the hit. We won't admit it till you threaten to go public with it. We won't reimburse you for it till you give it to us in writing. We won't say no till you say so. We won't ask for it till you got it. We won't mahalo till you aloha. We won't be peaceful till you just do it. We won't accentuate till you are positive. We absolutely will not stop ever until you are dead. We won't knit one till you purl two. We'll never know till you try. We'll leave your meat bag here till you give the signal. We won't behave like good corporate citizens till you take your business someplace we can't get to it. Fun, fun, fun. Obtain father's Ford under pretext of studying at library now. True destination, hamburger stand now. Increase volume and acceleration now. Extract maximum pleasure before losing auto privileges. Be object of female envy due to poise, beauty, and driving skills now. Be to Indianapolis 500 as it is to Ben-Hur now. Be unattainable object of male acquisitiveness now. Extract maximum pleasure before losing auto privileges. Once auto privileges are revoked by father now, accept secondary role in auto of rockstar boyfriend now. Extract such material gain as may begin to compensate. Wendy's hot and juicy. Cock, eyebrow. Allow pause to mess. Screw, up face. Money shot. You want us to find a piece of dead meat erotically stimulating. Hamburger helper. Apprenticed to grounded chuck and cheesed, cheating, monosodium gluteus maximum rack and rolls with butter. The hair and cheese party sure to be a wild success. Later, boneless with sleep, the aide to camp carrying on the freewheelin' hat. Bad Hamburg, on the Reeperbahn, a chance on the blues hat tour, brimming with enthuse and prellies, his soft dented crown, the slight roll of his shallow brim, beaten stakes in the wager wars, crawling from amps to sleep with the marquis of the Roteslicht, twist, shout, roll over, give me money, red meat in the sunset. Foot and mouth disease 2. Confederation reported months of privatization, massive outbreaks. US-led Iraq infrastructure spread difficulties within pigs, fattening institutional sector by 10 offices. Globalization, says catastrophe and surveillance service luxury. History plagues non-organic livestock, marketing big agricultural factories to corporate leashes. American status, pork bottom, trade, local population, and profit. Where's the beef? Heart. Trailing a desert of the mundane where the dust blows farward and the dust blows back. Resource reduction tucked away in taste bud, wise or quietist as it stands, a low blue in the field. Our appetites saturated, sanguine, airy. Thank you. That's the text. So I wanted to talk a little bit about how Hamburger came about. The story behind it is this. Sometime in 2001, Susan Schultz, the founding editor of Tin Fish Press, invited me to write a chapbook that they would publish with an odd stipulation. It had to be titled Hamburger. And the story behind that is that Gay Chan, the art director of Tin Fish, used to make a practice of dumpster diving in order to find material for her to make into art for her art projects. And one night behind a diner in Honolulu, she had found hundreds of foil takeout bags with the word hamburger emblazoned on the side in neon red, much like this, in fact, exactly like this foil wrapper right here. And Susan and Gay had noticed that these bags were the perfect size to slip a small book into. And so Susan asked me to write the book. So I accepted the challenge. I thought that it was a neat kind of subversive gesture to ask a vegetarian to write a book about hamburgers, which would be slipped inside of a kind of a kitschy, 50s diner-esque hamburger bag. And it was only later that I found out that Susan didn't know I was a vegetarian at that time. So it was perhaps even a little more subversive than I realized. So she didn't realize she was going to get an irony-laden anti-meat political rant. But it all worked out to everyone's satisfaction in the end, I think. But meanwhile, I had to write the book, which I had not done a book this way before. Ordinarily, you write the book first, and then you find out if any publishers are interested. So this was actually going the opposite direction. So I kind of walked around for a few months with this, assignment in my head, having to write a bunch of poems or a long poem or something that would go into a book that would be titled Hamburger. So I just walked around with the thought of doing a book called Hamburger in my head and tried to figure out how I was going to approach it. And so meanwhile, things started running through my head like all the fast food jingles I had seen from a lifetime of growing up watching television. The 2 all beef patties and the Wendy's hot and juicy and the have it your way and all that stuff is thrown in from all those. Punk songs like Corporate Death Burger by MDC, non-punk songs like the Beach Boys song Fun, 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 where, the one where she gets her daddy's car and cruises to the hamburger stand. So all that stuff showed up in the text in various ways. There was an outbreak of mad cow disease in England as I was contemplating what I was going to write for the book, so that got mentioned. But really an overall approach to Hamburger, a unified overall approach, never really occurred to me. So at some point, I just sort of pragmatically decided that in the same way that a fast food hamburger is composed of the ground up remains of several different, multitude of different cows, that I would just use several different methods and styles and approaches and just kind of generate material in all different sorts of ways and just look at it from all different perspectives. So there's a bit of character monologuing, the little character bits that I did at the beginning. Special sauce is a bit of manipulating the text in Google Translate, which I've talked about in some of the earlier weeks that we've done this, because that's a method that I like to use a lot. So I've used it before and since. So there's a bit of song parody. For some reason, the melody to the Bob Dylan song "Father of Night" got stuck in my head. And I started singing lyrics about our American food deity, the hamburger, rather than the creator god that Dylan talks about in Father of Night, which is tucked away on his album New Morning, if you're interested in hearing the original. There's a bit of erasure. The foot and mouth disease poems were generated by downloading a block of sort of expository narrative about mad cow's disease from the internet, and then crossing out big sections of it and circling words that I like to make the poetic lines out of that. Those two poems. And there's even a bit of associative subject changing based on the fact that there was a Supreme Court Chief Justice named Berger, and that the Beatles honed their craft in the city after which the hamburger was named, Hamburg, Germany. So after I figured I had enough to make a small book out of, I turned the text over to Susan Schultz, and she gave it to Anne Sakutori, over at Tin Fish, who formatted it, added some illustrations of cows, onions, buns, a couple of tomato-colored pages. There's some red pages in here that are sort of tomato-colored. There's an illustration of onions, and there's another one in here of some sesame seed buns that have text on them. So, and voila, that was hamburger. So, okay, I don't see any questions. Let me talk about, David mentioned that his father is framed on the wall here. This poster we got from Lee's mom, and that's of Lee's grandfather, Burley Dooley, and a cow. And this was a poster advertising a livestock show. And so Burley's doing a call, and I thought the cow was a nice touch here, so we did the reading here today. So, yeah, so that's hamburger. This was a short one today. So we'll be back next week, and we'll have some more. Unless we're going to turn it over to the dogs. Okay. So goodbye, everybody. See you next week. Thanks for joining us. I hope everybody's staying safe. I think we're flattening the curve, and hopefully the end is in sight. We'll be able to get out of our houses again soon. We can avoid having the pandemic do a resurgence, then we'll be in good shape. So take care, everybody. Hope you had fun. Bye.